Beam City Sports back at you again here in Sacramento, California on 96.5 FM. It's Tyler Texeira, Luke Mitchell, and Alec Dennett coming to you with another week on Beam City Sports. How we feeling, boys?
Feeling good. Excited to be back in the studio. Hope everybody's having a good holiday time back at home with their friends and family. So I hope you are having a good time listening to us right now.
Yep, as y'all can see, I'm in the holiday spirit, getting ready. Another week, another episode. Feeling good. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. We have a lot to get into today. The Sacramento Kings record is at 13-14 right now. One game under 500. Not feeling too good about that. But we will also go over the Bucks being the NBA Cup champions after last night. And then the final part of the show, we will get into the NBA's biggest trade rumors around the league. A lot jumping off right now. But as we always do, coming in with Mitchell's Man of the Week. Who we going with this week?
Just as you said, we're going to be talking about the Bucks. I'm going to be over there in Milwaukee. I'm actually going to do Mitchell's duo of the week. Giannis and Dame. The whole NBA tournament right now, they were killing everybody. They together averaging 56 points a game in the past 3 games. So that's all you need from that duo to power through and go 7-0 in this NBA Cup, making Darvin Ham also undefeated in that whole run. But yeah, both these guys are giving confidence to the whole team. They're returning back to that championship Bucks just a few years ago. Dame is returning back to Dame time pretty much. And he's kind of taken this new role as a more, you see it leading vet, instead of a whole this is my team, this I'm the superstar in Portland. He's more of a kind of just a vet guard that's still scoring a lot, getting his numbers back up, but he's still just facilitating the floor a whole lot more, which is really great to see. And then Giannis is just, Greek freak still. He's still running that thing, bulldozing down the court. But yeah, I love that duo. I think they're going to make a push for the finals this year for sure.
I like the pick. That duo had a lot of questions, especially after last year, not playing with a lot of chemistry together. But this year, after the rough start, it looks like Dame and Giannis have played with great chemistry, and the two-man game is finally, working. They're finally running pick and rolls with each other, which we didn't see a lot last year. So I love that pick. Got to give them respect after winning that NBA Cup.
Definitely.
Yeah, Dame and Giannis, they definitely deserve that. And, after having a rough start and, shout out to the coaching staff for, not giving up or anything, 2-8, 2-10, whatever it was to start off. Obviously it's poor, but it's such a long season.
Yep.
And honestly, they do have opportunity to push for a finals. Obviously Boston and maybe even Cleveland are the ones to compete. But if they keep it up, their whole bench looks great. They got good guys coming off. Gary Trent looked good in that championship game. Brooke Lopez was hitting shots. If everyone's able to do what they're capable of, then yeah, they look like a dangerous squad for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, when I saw Brooke Lopez just rising up for 3 after 3, it's over. Yeah. Thunder couldn't do anything about that.
They're too small.
And then they didn't have any answer for Giannis. You could see at the end of the day, Giannis could handle each one of them going down the court.
Yeah, no one to guard Giannis on the OKC team. There's not a lot of people that can guard Giannis in the entire NBA. It's him and Jokic, top 2 in the league, in my opinion. I don't think there's much of an argument outside of the top 2.
There's a far gap between them.
Yeah.
What about SGA?
SGA is not in that top 3. He's definitely a top 5, top 10.
He's not top 3?
He's not top 3. No way.
Who's 3?
I'm going to still put maybe KD when he's healthy.
Luka. Luka is definitely above SGA still.
Dude,
okay. We could give it to Luka, but SGA, he's just. I think SGA is still so slept on, even with everything that he's doing right now. And I seen it on social media. I just don't think he's getting the type of recognition that he really deserves, because they're the number 1 seed. They're arguably the best team in the league, and he's averaging 30 points a game with 5 rebounds and just shy of 7 assists like he's doing, and very consistently too. And so I'll give it to Luka because I do like Luka. I think Luka is probably better, but SGA definitely one of those guys that I feel like we should be talking about him more. But I just think because Giannis is also having a really great year, and Jokic is having probably the best year in NBA history. It's hard to even talk about SGA just because I think, like you guys mentioned, it's really Jokic versus Giannis for MVP right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with the SGA being underrated. I think he
He's
gets,
getting a lot of attention, right? He's getting all the attention, honestly.
in my opinion, I think he gets glazed a lot in the NBA circuit these days, and he's known as a free throw guy. Last night didn't get a lot of calls. We saw what happens when he doesn't get calls. We'll see what happens in the playoffs when the refs tighten up and he doesn't get as many calls. I feel like he has such a friendly whistle. Every time I watch him play, he's really good at drawing fouls. It's a skill at this, but also he does get a lot of, friendly calls. Also the 3-point shot, obviously a factor in his game.
Yeah.
Big part. Giannis isn't hitting the three either, but he's just unstoppable getting to the rim. So SGA, when he's not drawing fouls, he's not a top 5 player. But when he is,
Giannis
he's
is
up
also
there.
improved in the mid range too.
Oh, for sure. That's a big part of his game.
Finally.
That turnaround jumper is like unguardable.
He always the ball was so low, like when he was shooting before, but now he's figured it out. He holds it a little bit tighter, but I would be able to block him. Like with his old mid-range shot, it was just he would hang it out there the whole time. But
now he needs to just work on the free throws because he's shooting a career low from the line.
Yeah.
But let's jump into the next part. Ty's take of the week. Staying with the NBA Cup, my take this week is that the NBA Cup should not be in Las Vegas anymore. I think the crowd that we saw in all these Vegas games were absolutely horrible. There was no atmosphere from the crowd in any of these games. Going back to the Bucks versus Hawks game, it was a very close game down the stretch. Giannis gets a huge block on Clint Capella. You hear about 5 people in the crowd making any noise. And even if that game was in Atlanta, I think the crowd would have been a huge factor and made it more enjoyable to watch.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with that 100% because you can see it in the Raiders stadium. There's no real Raiders fans that are ever there. It's always an away game. That's gonna happen for every other sport that comes into Vegas. It's people there to bet and have fun.
Yeah.
And
My
drink.
question would be, where would you host the games?
That's a good question, and I would want it more in an NBA city, maybe like Seattle or something like that, where there's true NBA fans and all that. But also, it is hard to, get like a Bucks versus Thunder final. There's not a lot of people coming from Milwaukee to go watch the Bucks or coming from Oklahoma City to go watch the Thunder. So it's really tough. So I wouldn't be opposed to, having the NBA Cup stay in the actual arenas, because going back to the first NBA Cup game where it was the Kings versus the Timberwolves, that was one of the best atmospheres me and you have ever been in.
Oh, definitely.
And that was the NBA Cup, and, it was in Sacramento. The crowd really was so into it, and I really think that we need the crowd into it more, because last night in the championship, all I heard from the crowd was them counting down Giannis free throws all night. That's all I heard from the crowd. No cheers, no nothing. It was just a bad atmosphere. The game was honestly a fun game, especially in the first half. Second half was a lot different, but the crowd was a big factor for me, and I think it shouldn't be in Vegas.
Should we do like a coin toss, lottery thing?
It could be like the All-Star game where it's a different place every year.
Place.
If the NBA Cup was in Madison Square Garden, I think it would be a way better atmosphere than it is in Vegas.
Yeah.
But also,
I just think you also have to put it into perspective that, the whole purpose of this cup is to just try to get, more people to watch.
Exactly, yeah.
No, even like the NBA or whoever, someone put out a statement saying like, oh, Houston versus OKC, this isn't the matchup we wanted, or Milwaukee versus OKC, this isn't the matchup we wanted. So last year, it was the Lakers.
Exactly. That was
obviously
a big part of my take.
Yeah, everyone went to that game because it was LeBron in the cup.
All Lakers fans.
Easy.
This year,
it's easy for
the
them.
announcers were talking about you can't really tell who the crowd's rooting for in this game. And they were saying last year, complete opposite. You knew from the jump that this arena was packed with Laker fans because there's Laker fans everywhere. They have the most fans in the NBA. So a game like the Thunder versus the Bucks, you're not going to get that atmosphere that you really want. But another point of this take is that I don't think this should take away from the NBA expanding a team to Las Vegas. I think if they get their own team in Las Vegas, that it would be a better atmosphere. Like you mentioned about the Raiders, it's still not the best, but they can fill up an arena, and that's the NBA definitely cares about that. Mm-hmm. And they would have someone to root for, so it would be a better atmosphere. But for this NBA Cup championship, you need it in the home arena with fans, making that noise.
I think I think that might actually work because, you could look at the Golden Knights, the hockey team. Uh-huh. They are full Vegas fans.
Yeah.
Because they were a full expansion team. So maybe that is right. Maybe if it is a expansion team, then it could actually be a full fan base that's like actually rooting. So maybe it is a different could be a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like unlike the A's, like nobody's gonna be a fan of the A's when they go to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the Raiders, and just be
Just whoever's in Vegas.
bettors and who's in Vegas, and just people who are partying.
Well, the thing about that though is, I feel like a lot of people schedule the trip to Vegas to watch their team in Vegas, and so I think that's also part of the reason why they even thought of moving there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, yeah, it sucks for Raiders fans because a home game isn't a home game, but I mean, like you guys mentioned, in terms of just putting people in the seats, there's always going to be people in the seats.
Yeah, it's an entertainment business now. Like I was thinking this earlier this morning. NBA is it's a money grab at this point with a new play style and everything. It's who could get the most flashy and like the nicest arena and get people coming in the whole time and put the best show on the court, score the most points. But it's just like at the end of the day, some owners don't care about winning, and it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one because I think, going in, everyone was excited that the NBA Cup would be in Vegas. Going to Vegas is fun. But I don't think they give the true fans, like the Bucks fans and the Thunder fans, enough time before the championship game to, like, be able to go out there. Like, you need weeks in advance because most people, have a normal job. You have to request it in weeks off. And these Bucks fans in Milwaukee, they just found out the Bucks were going to the NBA Cup championship 5 days before the actual championship. There's no way they can get out there in time.
Yeah.
So if it was 3 weeks down the line, I think we might see some more, Bucks, Thunder fans and all that. But also another point, if the Warriors made the NBA Cup, I do think the Warriors fans would have came out and showed support because there's also Warriors fans
there's
everywhere,
Warriors fans
like the
everywhere.
Laker fans.
Yeah.
Yep.
But should we jump into the Sacramento Kings now?
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings, 13-14 record. Such a rough game last game against the Denver Nuggets. This was one of the best games of the year, though, just in the NBA. Like, going down the stretch. It was so back and forth. It was so exciting. But, of course, the Kings end up choking it in the end.
I mean, we were down by 22.
Down by 22. But no moral victories, in my opinion. This is a game we should have won.
Yeah.
We were up 7 with, like, 3 minutes to go, under 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get any stops. The Nuggets scored every single time after that. So you're not going to win a game when you can't get any stops down the stretch. But we were missing Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Lyles all out.
Doug McDermott started.
Yep, we saw Dougie McDermott start. I was very surprised when I saw that. I was like, this is not a very smart decision, but he had 16 points, went 4 from 7 from 3.
Yeah.
But the defense in the starting lineup was a big factor.
It's still the 3-point defense is still struggling all the time. We're the worst 3-point defense in the league right now.
I mean, that's why that's why Mike Brown had Keon Ellis out there for 32 minutes off the bench.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had 5 blocks, didn't he?
Yeah, 5 blocks,
Yep.
12 points, 2 steals, 6 rebounds. Keon was a dog out there. But a real problem for me in this game was stopping Aaron Gordon. Kings really struggle with these bigger 4-man, especially when you start a smaller lineup like Doug McDermott and DeMar DeRozan as your 3 and 4 combo. You have nobody to guard Aaron Gordon out there. And this just takes me back to opening night. When we played against the Timberwolves, we had DeMar DeRozan guarding Julius Randle. And who lit us up? Julius Randle.
35 points, I think.
Yeah, we didn't have anyone big enough to stop him. And that same thing happened with Aaron Gordon. And that was just a really rough point in this game. And I think that was honestly on Mike Brown. Like, Doug McDermott starting, I think Doug McDermott still should have played a lot of minutes, but
I think it's a good choice that he started just because
was it though? We were down 22 in the first quarter.
I know.
So maybe it wasn't.
I think it was a good idea though.
Yeah.
Just like in retrospect, I guess, just because he is the vet that we have. He's the guy. I mean, probably should have started like Jay Crowder or something like that.
Isaac Jones only played 6 minutes.
Yeah,
and
Isaac Jones probably would have been a better choice.
That is someone who I think would have been perfect to put on Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is too strong for Doug McDermott or DeMar DeRozan. He's also shooting the ball pretty well this year. So a guy like Isaac Jones, who is very strong and capable defender, would have been a big factor on Aaron Gordon this game, and he just didn't see the floor a lot of times.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, Domantas Sabonis was the best player on the floor for the Sacramento Kings, in my opinion. 28 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and he's just getting beat up all game, just every single game, but this game especially.
That's his play style.
I mean, it's tough when you got to guard the best center in the and
Yeah.
I mean the best player in the NBA, honestly. But I mean, he honestly did a really good job of keeping Jokic human, making him look human. And on top of that, scoring a lot, rebounding a lot, doing what he has to do. I mean, he had 6 assists, but you could call that an off night in terms of passing for him. But I mean, it's just tough because for the Kings to be down early and then come back and use all that energy to come back, and then once they have the lead, I just feel like as a, and it might be different being in the NBA, but from a player's perspective, if you're trying to come back, then you get that comeback, and then now you have a lead, you're just so tired that it's honestly really hard to maintain that lead, especially when down in the fourth quarter. That's when Jokic looked like he wanted to take over.
He had his first 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then
killed us.
On top of that, Jamal Murray had probably one of his best games of the year.
He had 15 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
De'Aaron was getting cooked on defense by Jamal Murray, but I like the effort from De'Aaron. He also had 29 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists.
He was playing good defense.
I think he was too.
But
Jamal was just on one, and he's one of the best guards.
When you're making it, you're making it.
When he's in the fourth quarter, in the clutch, he's known as one of those clutch guys.
Yep.
The real story of this game, though, was DeMar DeRozan fumbling the ball down the stretch. I think it was a great play call by Mike Brown.
Oh, it was a beautiful play.
Yeah,
he was wide open on the crash.
The pick and roll with De'Aaron and Sabonis. Everyone on the Nuggets thought De'Aaron was going to be the one getting that shot because he had it going in the fourth, keeping the Kings in it. Hitting that clutch 3, of course, to give him the lead, and then Jokic came right back and hit another one.
Mm-hmm.
But DeRozan was wide open, like you said, on that pick and roll action. They had Sabonis on the roll. That was that Warriors offense that Mike Brown, I think, learned from Steve Kerr.
Probably, yeah.
So De'Aaron pick and roll with Sabonis, finds Sabonis on the roll. Then Jokic comes up to help. DeMar cut back door because, DeMar doesn't want to shoot that corner 3. So obviously cutting to the basket is a better opportunity, and he fumbles the ball.
I mean,
this is exactly what we wanted from this whole lineup. We wanted people guessing. It's just like, De'Aaron's running up with the ball.
Yeah.
He's on one. He's going to go for it. And then Domas is just out on the top of the key. They're just like, oh, wait, Domas is going to crack. And then they forget about DeMar in the corner. And then we want Keegan to be there in the corner, but that's not happening. But this is exactly what we wanted, but DeMar just couldn't. Butterfingers, man.
Man, that hurts. It
I mean,
hurts.
he still got a pretty good shot off. I mean, just a little too strong. But
Yeah. I mean, he can hit that mid-range shot, but
Yeah,
obviously
that wasn't what the Kings wanted.
if he made a clean catch,
Yeah.
it would have been a dunk.
It would've
And
been
he just had a
easy.
crazy dunk that was a harder play,
Oh,
a
my
play
gosh.
before that when he dunked on Jamal Murray.
Yep.
But also Malik Monk came to play in this one, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. Like I said last week, he is the best playmaker on this Sacramento Kings team.
My man of the week last week, too.
Yeah,
Still keeping it going.
Yeah, he's making a big impact in that starting lineup, but the Kings really just need to start winning these close games down the stretch. It feels like every time the Kings are in a close game,
Every game.
it's always a great game, and it's always something that you want to be tuned into. Everyone around the NBA is saying the Kings play in the most close games around the league, and it's super exciting, but the Kings always find a way to choke it in the end.
Play up and down to our competition,
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
We could win by 3 against one of the best teams, and then we go and blow it.
It doesn't matter who we're
20-point
playing.
lead.
It's going to be a close game down the stretch. Colby Jones in this game, though, had 0 points, 4 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal, but was a +6 in the box score. Just someone who stood out to me with the energy. Mike Brown also said Colby Jones and Keon Ellis were the reason we came back in this game. They came in off the bench, provided so much energy to this team that didn't have any energy to start the game. But it was really the defense for Colby Jones. But if he can start hitting some shots, man, if Colby Jones can hit a catch and shoot 3 every now and then,
that's all we need.
he'd be so big for this team.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, his presence on the floor, obviously, everyone on the Kings feels it. I just think his confidence scoring the ball isn't there yet.
It's not.
And I don't know if it's just because he knows he has guys that he can pass to that, can get their shots up. And, he's just kind of that role player mode. And, maybe he's just like, oh, if I played good defense, if I do this, I'm going to just play. But, yeah, I mean, I think he needs to just have some confidence in himself and to be able to score the ball, because there's times where he's wide open and they're just complete bricks.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Maybe it probably is just a confidence thing. Maybe he's in practice. Maybe he's just getting blocked all the time and he can't really get it off. And he's seeing other players like, okay, I can't get this going. Let's help out just another way. And that's all I see against the Pelicans. He's an in-your-face defender, just like always a presence on the court. I mean, that's all we need right now from those bench guys off the court. But like Tyler said, if we can get them going with 1 or 2 threes every once in a while, in 6 minutes, that's all we need for sure.
Because then it makes the defense have to at least play to him, and then he can obviously make plays and figure out what's the best option in that scenario.
Yeah. Another guy in this Nuggets game I noticed before we jump on in the next game was Jay Crowder. He didn't have a good game in the box score, but in my opinion, every time Jay Crowder comes in, especially when the Kings are down and struggling, he just comes in and talks smack to the other guy.
Yeah,
whoever has it going, he doesn't care. He'll come in right away. Like Aaron Gordon had it going in the first quarter. Right when Jay Crowder checks in, he's talking to him. He's talking to him on the free throw. He's like, oh, yeah, you're not doing that on me. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I think Jay Crowder really is a toughness part of this team that we really needed, and I really hope it starts, translating to more wins.
He's just got to back that up. Like, if he starts talking, then I need to see numbers.
And Aaron Gordon hit him with a nasty, double cross and after Jay Crowder was talking to him, and then Jay Crowder, held him down, fouled him so hard so he couldn't make the and one. Aaron Gordon was talking to him, going to the line. Jay Crowder wasn't having it. So I just love that toughness. I think we need more of that in Sacramento. We can't be soft. We need that toughness, someone who's not going to back down. Like you said, back it up, though. We need more of people backing it up. But, let's jump on to the next game, or the game before this, the Kings at the Pelicans. The Kings won 111-109. This marked 3 wins in a row for the Kings at the time.
This was the Cardiac Kings here.
Yes.
This was not the Kings. This was the Cardiac Kings.
But also, it shouldn't have been this close.
No.
111-109 against the Pelicans, they only have 5 wins right now.
Domas with a monster game.
Yeah, Domas had a double-double in his first 10 minutes of playing in this game. So he was on one. He had 32 points, 21 rebounds. The only other Sacramento King to ever do that was
DeMarcus
Cousins.
Yeah.
Well, De'Aaron had 18 points in this one, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, a very good all-around game for him. Besides shooting 3, that he's doing everything else very well.
Yeah.
Malik Monk had a weird game, only had 5 points, didn't hit his shots this game, but again, 9 assists, best playmaker on this team.
Yes, sir.
And then DeMar DeRozan, 29 points, had 16 points in that third quarter to really put the Kings up. And then, of course, the Kings made it interesting down the stretch, as we always do, but ended up coming up with the win.
CJ was cooking us on the 3-point line.
He's a Kings killer.
I don't know why Murray took the last shot. McCollum should have had the ball in his hand for that last shot. But no, just glad we got out of there with a win. I mean, if we lost, I would have been furious.
It would have been really
to this
bad.
team, with sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
No, it's good. CJ McCollum, though, 36 points.
CJ was 36.
And before this game, I was talking to my dad about it, and I was telling him that CJ McCollum has always been a Kings killer. And you know why? Because back when he was getting drafted, he worked out with the Sacramento Kings. Kings told him they were going to draft him, and they didn't draft him. They ended up picking Jimmer Fredette or someone like that over him, Ben McLemore.
So those little NBA curses.
And CJ McCollum says ever since that day, he has had the Kings circled on his schedule. And it's been true. He has always killed the Kings, and anyone the Kings put on him that game, he was cooking. But Malik Monk had the clutch steal on DeJounte Murray. Like you said, it should have been in CJ's hands.
Definitely.
But DeJounte Murray tried to do it himself in the end. Malik got the steal, and that was the dagger, was the steal right there.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely feel bad for that Pelicans team just because, they're just so injury-ridden. And for them to at least put up a little bit of a fight, I mean, they have 2 of their best players back. So, as a fan, that's good to see. But, yeah, I mean, if you're a Kings fan and you're watching that game, you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, how do we not blow them out?
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, the Kings are, in my opinion, they're struggling. I don't think that they're all that great right now. It's still early. It's very fixable. But, I mean, as long as they can just keep getting wins that, at the end of the day against no matter who they are, if they're bad wins, good wins. A dub. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what they need. So, tough loss against the Nuggets. But, I mean, hey, they won 3 straight before that. So maybe they can, figure out a way to get themselves in another little streak.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough though. We need the Kings to I need a 5-game win streak.
It's a tough schedule coming up too.
It's a tough schedule. They got the Lakers back-to-back games.
Yeah.
I think we can win both those. We really need them. At least one. Give me one of those games.
I mean,
I might be going to one of them.
If LeBron and AD are healthy, that might be very tough.
Yeah, true. But I'm a question for you guys. So
Yep.
the Kings still haven't signed Isaac Jones. He's been killing in the G League, dropped 35
Yep.
points the other
I
night.
saw that.
We still need to sign him so he can play every single game.
Who are we cutting?
That's the question, because Colby Jones.
McLaughlin, bro, get him out
You
of here.
did say that. You
Yeah.
did say Jordan
Bro,
McLaughlin.
he doesn't even play.
He's the vet point guard, though, he was playing good earlier in the year. When I remember the game that me and Luke went to against the Timberwolves, he had a very good game. He was a big part of that comeback. I think he had 11 points that game.
I'm cutting him.
Yeah. It's
a
tough,
tough
though.
one.
I was thinking Doug earlier, but now Doug is lighting it up. I was
Doug is
thinking
starting to
Colby.
shoot better.
Colby's playing good defense. I mean, it's tough to say Alex Len or Orlando Robinson because I want size.
What I might be thinking is we trade away 2 players
And then, that's not a bad idea, actually.
because I
We'll jump into the trades second half of the show because
Yeah.
there's a lot of trade talks going around.
That's my idea. Is 2 people are going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I think Isaac Jones will take one of their spots.
That's actually a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Because that does make sense. If you trade away 2 guys and get one, then you have an open spot.
We
then you
won't
can sign
say
him.
the names yet, but
Yeah, we'll get into it second half of the show. But yeah, anything else on this Kings struggling team that we need? We need more beams.
we need
man.
more size.
Yeah.
We need more size down low. We need another strong guy like someone I'm gonna say in the second half of the show.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that Monte can do during this trade time because I mean, there's a lot of names on the trade block.
Yeah.
And there's people that we could work with like all around the league. I feel like, and there's a lot of spaces that we need to fill.
Yeah, I agree. And the Kings are buying at the trade deadline.
Yes.
They are putting it out there that they are building around this core of Fox, Sabonis, Monk, DeMar, and Keegan. Those are the 5 they want to build around.
We got to prove to De'Aaron as well that we're still working with him.
Exactly. We need to start putting together some wins. But we'll be back in 3 minutes. Beam
Like,
City
share,
Sports.
Comment, subscribe.
We are back on 96.5 FM, Beam City Sports. Tyler Texeira, Luke Mitchell, and Alec Dennett coming to you in Sacramento. We will get into our favorite segment of the week, I See You. We're going to switch it up. We're going to do one a week for each person. This week, I will have one. Next week, it'll be one of these 2. And then we'll keep rotating each week. So my I See You pick for this week is from the Oklahoma City Thunder, a young guard, Cason Wallace, who is one of my favorite young guards in the league. He's averaging 7 points a game. The numbers don't jump off the stat sheet, but his impact is unlike anything I've ever seen, especially from such a small guard. And he reminds me a lot of Davion Mitchell, just like on the defensive end. He plays like Davion Mitchell on the defensive end. He's a very strong, stocky guard who can guard multiple positions, even if he's a smaller guard. But his offensive game is just so much better than Davion Mitchell's was. Like, he's able to catch and shoot, like, really good. And Davion Mitchell, I think his offensive game is like built around that pick and roll, having the ball in his hands. That's why Cason Wallace is so good. And he starts a ton of games for this Thunder team. I think if they started him yesterday, they would have had a way better chance of winning. They started Isaiah Joe instead, who I love as well. But Cason Wallace has that defensive presence, and he can hit a catch and shoot 3. He can get to the basket if he wants to. And he's just a great guy to play like alongside Shea.
Yeah.
I think like the comparison to Davion Mitchell is Davion Mitchell's not a good catch and shoot shooter. He's not a good guy that can sit in the corner and hit a corner 3. Cason Wallace is exactly that type of player, and that's a winning type of player in my opinion.
That's that's scary because I mean you start hearing about like all these like smaller names and a few of them on the Thunder. It's just like, all right, this is kind of getting out of hand, guys.
They have so
you
many.
guys got so many people just run a deep bench. So yeah, when you see these young people coming up and just being able to be reliable in those like few minutes where they like, hey, you got to come in, give them a little break, and they're still coming up with big shots that they need them to. And I only just heard about Cason Wallace like earlier this year, and like I just got familiar with his game. So like, I mean, him coming up like this, like on this Thunder team, only lost how many games? 5 or 6?
Yeah,
6 now.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't count towards the record. The championship game doesn't count towards the 82-game record. So technically 5 games in the
5
regular
games
season.
still.
Yeah.
crazy.
20 and 5.
That's
20 and 5.
Yeah, I like Cason Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty athletic too. So I mean, I forget which game it was, but he caught a lob, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, like I
He
didn't
dunks
even.
with his left hand, too. Like,
Yeah.
he's a right-handed player, but he dunks with his left, so that's very interesting.
Can't injure your shooting hand, man.
Man,
Yeah, true.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's been doing his thing. I mean, he's great backup point guard for SGA if they decide to put him in for him, or even alongside him, take Lou Dort out. Be that secondary primary defender for when Lou Dort comes out.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, he's been having a year so far too.
Yeah, I love Case and Wallace game. So we should jump into the game that we saw last night, the NBA Cup championship. The Bucks won it 97-81. The story was that the Thunder just could not hit a shot. Their offense was really struggling. Everyone on the floor was struggling.
Was it 5 for 32 from 3?
5 for 32 from 3. They started out in the first half 1 of 17 from 3, and they didn't stop shooting. So that's the current NBA where we're at. But also Giannis just put on a show, 26 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals, showing that he's a top 2 player in the league.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it is impressive, though, that the Thunder were able to keep a 1-point game or 2-point game in the half with only 1 3.
Exactly.
Like, in the NBA, that's kind of unheard of to only be. I mean, the Kings have done it this whole season, unfortunately. But now having a game that is under 100 points for both teams, it's kind of unheard of now in this NBA.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like the championship aspect of it made it to where both teams were playing a lot better defense. It was a pretty physical game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing about the reason they kept shooting the 3 is because, you know, if they're trailing, which they were in the third quarter and the fourth quarter,
gotta keep shooting.
That's how you get back into the game. And you know, just seeing 20-point leads, you know, disappear, it's because of that 3-point shot. So that's why they kept shooting. And, you know, it was just one of those games for them where, you know, no one, even SGA, you know, he had a bad game, didn't really shoot the ball that great.
He didn't get the foul calls, I'm telling you.
No.
I mean, the foul calls don't matter. We've seen it before. But, yeah, it for them, you know, it was a tough game. But, I mean, like I said, you know, last week or the week before, whenever it was, that, you know, I did think the Bucks would come out on top. And just because of, you know, like you mentioned earlier, Giannis and Dame are the best scoring duo.
I think they're the best duo in the NBA right now, for sure.
Mean,
arguably, yeah, for sure. Dame's playing at a very good level
Dame
this year too.
Completely stepping it up back to his prime days.
This is what the Bucks thought they were getting when they first traded for him.
Yeah, true that. Last year he was dealing with a lot though, family stuff. He was hurt. He didn't really get a training camp. This year he said he was coming in more focused than ever, and we can really tell.
Yep.
But the Bucks started out the second half with back-to-back threes, and after that it was really over. The Thunder just couldn't get anything going, and the Bucks were just playing like a well-oiled machine. And their defense was really a big part. I think the Bucks have a very underrated defense. A lot of athletic guys out there like Andre Jackson, a lot of those young guys
Prince
that they have.
Is,
Taurean Prince.
Taurean Prince is
shooting 50% from 3.
Whenever I see him, I just think about that clip from when he was on Baylor, and like they were asking, like,
I know,
you guys were out rebounded this much. How did that happen?
Yeah, that was a funny clip. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're looking like, again, that championship Bucks team that they were a few years ago, or 2 years ago.
3.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah, but I said it. The NBA Cup was going to turn their season around.
You did. You called it. Yeah.
It really has.
I also didn't know Dave Yeager is an assistant coach for the Bucks.
Yeah, shout out to Dave.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, not
met
really.
him.
Yeah, I did. I did meet him. Yeah. But I mean, when he was on the Kings, I could.
Yeah. Well, Giannis, after this NBA Cup championship, his resume is just second to none at this point.
Automatic Hall of Famer.
MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year. He's got it all, and he's not stopping anytime soon. It looks like Giannis is now in his prime, which is scary to say.
How old is he?
30. He just is about to reach 30. So, man, he's got a lot of basketball left.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So the Thunder really struggled though. J-Dub had 18 points. I think he played very well in the first half. Second half he was struggling. And Isaiah Hartenstein also had a very good first half. Then he couldn't really get it going in the second half. So yeah, what do we think about the NBA Cup though? This was the second year of the NBA Cup. What are we rating this out of 10 if we had to rate it?
I'll let you go first, Alec.
Oof, put me on the spot. Are we talking about just this year's NBA Cup or
Just
both years?
This year's NBA Cup, starting from, when the Kings played the Timberwolves, the Warriors played the Mavericks in that first NBA Cup, those first NBA Cup games that were very exciting to now. What are we rating it out of 10? This year's experience.
I mean, there were some great games for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would say probably like a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Like a 6 out of 10, probably. I did feel like there was a little bit more intensity with all the games, and like the fans were a little bit more into it.
Yeah.
Because more people understood it.
Not in Vegas.
Not in Vegas.
At the home, yeah, you're right.
At the home games, there was a lot more energy.
Oh, yeah.
Every game was a lot more packed, even at the small market teams.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that don't have a good team at all, like the Portland games. Like you're just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
like
they
it's
were
a
packed.
sold out game.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's I think it's catching on a little bit. Still think they got a lot to work out.
True.
Just like, I mean, I think it's just in the general NBA as well.
Yeah.
Just
The one
there's
thing
a
that
few
I like
things.
about the NBA Cup is, like you said, it gives like those small market teams
Yeah,
kind of like a presence
Yep.
to where people can go to the games and actually root for them because,
Exactly.
even if they have a bad start to the year, if they, like the Pistons, for example, if they win or they go 3-0, 4-0, and it gives their team hope, it's like, hey, we might be able to compete in this championship game.
exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, when they put it in, I just wasn't really a fan of it. And then, of course, the Lakers had to win the first year. So I don't know. It might catch on later on, but I think right now I'm just not too big of a fan of it. So that's why, there were some great games, of course, but that's why I kind of just put it like 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
How about you, Tyler?
I would rate it about an 8 out of 10 in
An
my
8?
opinion.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it this year. Like you guys said, those smaller market teams, giving them something to play for, giving those fans some hope, and, putting more stakes on these early season games, because most of the NBA seasons that we've seen before the NBA Cup, these games in early December and November are like, no one cares at all.
Yeah.
But these NBA Cup games give it some meaning, and it really, even though the viewership is down, I still think this means that the NBA is getting more attention during this part of the season when there's also the NFL still going on and stuff. They're competing with that.
Yeah.
I think the NBA Cup is a really big part, and I think it's just going to keep getting better and better. And you mentioned this a while ago that in about a couple of years, I think people will really care more about the NBA Cup, putting it on people's resumes and making it a big part of solidifying your status as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I said that like a few weeks ago
Yeah.
or something. I said people won't care about this for
years.
like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, look back at that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, they won it like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart. The Pistons won it?
Yeah.
Holy crap. What?
Yeah.
I just think it's a good idea because it kind of gives almost like a college tournament aspect
Exactly.
Yeah.
into the NBA because, like you mentioned, it's just such a long season to where a lot of people don't care about the games. Where in college, there's all these tournaments that mean so much to, the players and the coaches. So where I think Adam Silver kind of had that idea to where it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe if we do a tournament style thing for the NBA, then it will be a big deal, especially like you mentioned later down the road.
Yeah. It's kind of like Euro soccer. Like they have all those cups in their big leagues. So that's all it is really. And then, I mean, maybe they're trying to open the door for Euro League and NBA like matchup cup games, like just like a Euro NBA Cup. Just I don't know, just make the game grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make the game grow.
Yeah, well, let's jump into the NBA's hottest trade rumors around the league. We're going to start in Sacramento, of course. Some names that jump off the stat sheet to me are Kyle Kuzma, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Jeremy Grant. Those are guys that the Kings are linked to, and the guys that the Kings are trying to trade are Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles. They're also not afraid to throw some picks in there. So
I think there's only 2 people on that list that are worth trading for.
both from the Nets.
No.
Oh,
Or there's one name that you didn't list that I think we should try and trade for.
Throw it out
is
there.
Jonas Valanciunas.
okay.
Another, and then there's also Jeremy Grant. I did not expect that name to come out, but Jonas Valanciunas is someone we could put alongside with Domas. Both of them are both Serbian, so I think that would be a great combo down low. We need someone that size, like you said earlier, at that 4 spot and 5 spot, just so then we don't get scared like when one of them's off the court.
He would honestly be a really great backup because if you look at what Houston has with Sengun and Steven Adams.
I'm putting them both on the court. I'm not.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I
you
think
can't do it.
I think
he
he
can
would
do it.
have to come off the bench, and he would be a great backup. Though he would be
a good backup. Yeah, I don't know, but I think both of them running the court together would be fine.
I don't at all. It's way too slow. You can't have Domas playing your 4. Guarding the other 4s in the league, he's way too slow. He's a 5. He's a center.
Yeah, he is.
I'm tired of the power
I
forward
know.
talk with Sabonis because he is not a power forward. But I think the Kings need to go get a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith. That is
Really?
the guy that I think the Kings need to go get. Or Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's asking
Cam
price
Johnson is the
way
more-
higher, though.
It is.
Probably going to have to give up 2 first-round picks to get Cam Johnson, which I'm not too sure of right now. Dorian Finney-Smith, asking price would be a lot lower. The Nets are trying to get
That's
rid
true.
of him. They just traded Dennis Schroeder to the Warriors for DeAnthony Melton, who's out for the year, and 3 second-round picks. I would
Mm-hmm.
be completely fine giving up 4 second-round picks and Kevin Herter for Dorian Finney-Smith right now.
I guess Finney-Smith is also a better. He's shooting like 45%.
Very
from three.
solid shooter. He's about 6'8", can guard multiple positions.
That's true.
He'd be huge for this Kings team. Also, Jeremy Grant, his asking price is lowered right now. Portland's putting it out there that they're really trying to get rid of Jeremy Grant.
Okay.
Only problem with that is his contract is so
contract's
big.
huge.
So big. So you'd have to give up Kevin Herter, Trey Lyles, and maybe some second rounders in there. I wouldn't be opposed to it though. Trey Lyles is hurt. We haven't seen him for a while. I think now's the time to trade him with us, being comfortable or starting to seem like we're comfortable without him in the lineup.
Yeah.
So I think now's the time. I think we need to make a move, and it's out there that the Kings are buyers. Kings are buyers.
Are you a fan of Kuzma at all?
I'm not. I'm not a fan
Me
of getting
neither.
Kyle Kuzma at all.
I just
Yeah.
think it'd be a tough fit for Kyle Kuzma because obviously in Washington, he could do whatever he wants, but come to a team like the Kings, he's
Yeah.
probably gonna have to have a smaller role, which I'm not sure if he would want. So, and I just don't know because it's been a while seeing Kuzma on like a good team. When he was first drafted with the Lakers, he had like stints of looking like he could be great, but in Washington, he honestly just gets a lot of points because he just takes a lot of shots.
He's
He
also on.
shoots so much,
He's also
yeah.
on a downturn right now. All of
Yeah.
his stats are down from last year and the previous year. He was at 22 2 years ago. Then he was at 15 last year. Now he's at 13 or something like that this year.
He's been hurt, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, with the team that doesn't have anybody besides Jordan Poole and Jonas Valanciunas, he's got to be scoring a lot more.
Yeah, I do not like how
I'm not a
Kuzma's
fan.
played
No.
this year at all. I think he wouldn't be a good fit, and
Not
we
at
need
all.
defense. He's not known as a good defender, so we need someone who can step in and guard these big wings that we have a lot of trouble with, and play some good 3-point defense. Like you said earlier, our 3-point defense is the worst in the league, and you're not going to win a ton of games like that, especially if we're not hitting a ton of threes.
Nope.
Now, what if are the Kings only looking to get rid of Herter and Trey Lyles, or do you think they might surprise some people and throw someone else in there?
People are starting to talk about Keegan. I'm like, no, Keegan's not leaving. He's
Like
going
I
to be
said,
a core of this future.
That 5 core is set in
That's
stone.
set.
They're not
Yeah.
trading any of
They're
those
not
guys.
trading any of them.
Now, what if
Keon Ellis is someone I'm scared people are throwing out there because he
Yeah.
has so much value on the market right
There's
now.
a lot of value.
I don't think we can get rid of Keon. I think Keon needs to stay here.
We just signed him for
Yeah.
a 3-year deal,
So
right?
we need to keep Keon here in Sac. But everyone else on the team wouldn't be opposed.
Jay Crowder?
No
We
one
just signed-
wants
no
Jay
one.
Crowder. I wouldn't be
I do see.
Well, if
I
you're giving him
see-
to a team that's terrible,
Yeah.
obviously
could also
they're not
see
gonna want
Isaac
it.
Yeah,
Jones
I don't
being
have
a-
any attachment to anyone else besides those 6.
I see Isaac Jones potentially being a trade.
He's not even signed though.
I
You can't
know.
trade a 2-way player.
Well, I'm really.
you can't trade a 2-way
Oh,
player.
I did not know
You
that.
need to sign him to a real contract because he's not officially on the Kings. Like he's still in the both Stockton and the Kings. You can't trade a G League guy. So
I didn't know that. Yeah.
it's rough out here. So I really think the Kings need to go get a big wing, or I don't love getting a big man like Valanciunas. If I'm being honest, the asking price would probably be a little too high to just be a backup. And Sabonis is a top 5 center in the league. How many minutes is Jonas really going to play on the floor? And Alex Len is a serviceable backup big, in my opinion.
He just doesn't play that much, though.
Yeah.
We
run small. We
I'm
run
getting
Isaac
tired
Jones.
of Alex Len.
I think Alex Len is probably one of those guys the Kings should get rid of too, because I don't mind the Valanciunas idea because if he comes off the bench
If he does come off, that's a better
for
idea than what I
Sabonis,
said.
that's a great backup center.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've always said that I think the Kings do need someone as a backup center just because, Sabonis' impact that he has when he's on the court, when he's off the court, unless you have like De'Aaron or Malik in, just someone that's able to make the plays for the team, I feel like the playmaking just kind of
Gets a
drops
little
down a
thrown
bit.
off, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some other rumors around the NBA. We have 10 minutes left. I want to ask you guys how you feel about this trade and who says no, who says yes. Denver Nuggets trading Michael Porter Jr. to the Chicago Bulls for Zach LaVine.
Oh
who
my
says
gosh. Denver, nah.
no? Who says no? Or should these two teams do this trade?
Honestly, I think Chicago says no.
I think Chicago says yes because Zach LaVine, been trying to get rid of him for years now. His contract is so big, and they would get someone back like Michael
But
Porter
only
Jr.
for
I
only
think-
Michael
I
Porter.
think someone else would have to be sent with Michael Porter Jr.
I think they can get more for Zach LaVine than Michael Porter.
I don't think Zach LaVine has a lot of value on the market right now, even though he's having a great year. I think he doesn't.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
Well, okay, so
I disagree.
they traded Alex Caruso, who everyone thought had so much value on the market, for Josh Giddey straight up. The Chicago Bulls don't have a good front office.
No.
If we're
They
being
don't.
honest, they're not good at trading their assets.
That's why
when
they need to get more with Michael Porter Jr. than just Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
Like,
Michael Porter Jr. is a very hard player to find on the market. He's 6'11", shoots everything. He's a serviceable defender.
My
He's shooting
only
40% from three.
my only issue with that is Michael Porter is not your number one.
No,
He's not
definitely
your number one guy. Zach LaVine is.
The Bulls
And-
shouldn't want a number one guy right now. They should be going for the number one guy in the draft next year.
Well, that's why
or
they're-
build around Kobe White as your number one guy.
I feel like they would get Michael Porter Jr. and someone else at least, or a first round draft pick. Like,
Maybe, but Zach LaVine's value isn't as high as you guys think. If I'm being honest, they've been trying to get rid of him for the last
Nuggets,
3 years.
for the Nuggets, I think it is right now because they just want to win another chip. With,
I just don't
with
think the
Jokic.
Nuggets would be willing to give up only Michael or just Michael Porter Jr. just to get LaVine.
I think the Nuggets would be more on the saying no side than the Bulls, in my opinion, because, like I said, MPJ is such a hard type of player to find. He's 6'11", he can shoot from three. It's
But
like
he's not
you're not going to find.
consistent.
Yeah, he's not consistent, but he's still one of the best shooters known in the league from three. And even though like he's not, hitting 5 threes a game, he's still going to hit a couple a game and play decent defense.
So if the Bulls, my question would be, if the Bulls are looking to get rid of LaVine, are they just going to tank? Because
Yes, they need to tank.
they honestly don't even have a bad record. I
They
mean,
don't,
yeah,
and that's the problem because their pick is top 10 protected. So if they're 11, then the pick goes to, I think it's the Atlanta Hawks or something.
so
like
if they have to have a better, they have to be play in to keep that
Yeah.
top 10.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
they have to be 10 or below to have.
I don't think that happens.
Yeah.
I don't think that trade happens at all.
So, I mean, there's just nowhere else Zach LaVine can go. His contract is big. That's why that trade works because the contracts match up. MPJ is getting a bag, and he's not producing to, that type of money. Like you said, he's not consistent.
Not
and the
yet.
Nuggets are trying to win a chip
Could there be like a 3-way trade with Miami at all? Maybe.
to get
Zach LaVine to Miami.
Jimmy.
I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out
I mean,
there.
that's not a bad idea to get Jimmy to Denver. You're saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Hell nah.
And then
My bad. That would not work though.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
Jimmy
know.
and Denver would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Bro,
I
they
don't hate
already
it.
have. I mean, Westbrook has figured out his role there. Adding
playing so
someone
good.
similar
Yeah.
to Westbrook, I
That's
just don't
true.
think would
yeah,
not
I
work.
forgot Westbrook is like kind of popping
Because
off
Michael
the bench.
Porter, the problem with Michael Porter is just he's known for like a catch and shoot, and obviously he can one dribble pull up mid range. He's
Yeah.
pretty athletic. It's just he literally when he catches the ball he wants to shoot it. That's his only problem. Michael never passed the rock. Porter junior That's his problem.
Yeah.
So, but he was great with them when they won that championship. He knew exactly what his role is. I think if he's able to figure out a way to just be consistent, they wouldn't want to get rid of him because Jokic still needs shooters on his team.
Yeah.
They got rid of, KCP. So now Michael Porter Jr. has to be that shooter. I mean, thankfully Aaron Gordon has stepped up and been able to hit threes, but other than that, I mean, Julian Strother, who's what I think a second-year guy. He's just getting a lot of playing time. He can shoot, but he hasn't proven that yet. And then Peyton Watson, we've seen he just can't shoot.
He can't shoot. Yeah.
So let's send,
Nuggets need shooting
Let's send Kevin and Trey over there with the pick.
for MPJ.
For MPJ.
Yeah, the contract's too big.
I know, yeah, that's a
But
big. We can't take
Kings,
that contract
Kings could
on.
use MPJ.
We
right
could
now.
use
That would be
MPJ.
nice.
Yeah.
But some other guys around the league that are, on the market, like we mentioned, the Nets, Cam Johnson,
Yeah.
Cam Thomas, and Nick Claxton are all on the market. I guarantee you that all of those guys will be gone by the end of the trade deadline.
Yeah, most definitely.
I hope the Kings get one of them, include Dorian Finney-Smith in there. Anyone from those four, the Kings could use a lot.
So do you think if we tried to get Cam Johnson, we would have to send Trey and Kevin and 2 picks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be it.
Honestly, I don't think we really need that much draft capital right now.
I just find it crazy.
That's scary because what if De'Aaron leaves? He does leave in the
That
next
is
years,
true.
then our rebuild, and then we don't have our picks.
That's true.
Then we have no direction. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I just find it crazy how, Brooklyn isn't picking one person to build around. Like
Yeah.
if they're going for Cooper Flag, then that's who they're going to build around.
Oh, yeah.
But like if they want to get rid of Cam Thomas, then that's their score. Like why wouldn't you pair him up with Cooper or something like that? That way you have at least a little promising future. If you get rid of everybody, you just get all these guys from trades, and then you want to draft Cooper Flag, that team's going to be terrible from the start.
It is.
And I mean, obviously,
I think that's the process of
it is, and obviously it's going to take a while. But I mean, call me crazy, but I think Cooper Flag has the ability to kind of switch around a franchise like Wemby did, because the Spurs were terrible. They got the right pieces. Wemby's a part of that process. Now look at them.
I need to see. I mean, I don't believe it till I see it.
I think Dylan Harper has that more than Cooper Flag.
I just don't think so. Like Dylan Harper,
he's so good.
He's a great guard. He's proven that he's probably the best guard in college right now.
Yeah.
But he's just a 6'6", 6'7" regular wing guy. To me, it's kind of how everyone was talking about Scoot Henderson and how he's kind of struggling. I think Dylan Harper might come into the league and struggle for a bit and then catch a rhythm, because I don't think Scoot's terrible. Everyone's saying Scoot's terrible. I think he can still prove himself.
Same.
But I think Cooper Flag immediately will make a difference for a team, whether it's Brooklyn or not. That's what I'm saying.
He definitely will come in and make a difference, and I think Cooper Flag is going to be good from day one, but definitely not Wemby.
Yeah, I'm not
Definitely
trying to
not the tier of Wemby.
No.
I'm not trying to compare him to
yeah.
Wemby. I'm just saying I think he can maybe flip a franchise like Wemby's going to in a short amount of time.
You can build around him, in my opinion, but we'll have to see.
It's a pretty stacked draft class, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
One of the best
in a while.
In a while, that's what everyone's saying. We have to wait and see. You never know.
Yep. Could be
Quickly, some other trade talks. The Warriors, like I said earlier, got Dennis Schroeder. Love the pickup. I think this is going to be huge for them.
pretty crazy, him coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I think they're going to start him along with Steph. Yeah.
Put a buddy on the bench.
Yeah, Buddy's better off the bench anyway.
Definitely, yeah.
So I think, but the
that's
real question
crazy.
is, Kuminga. I don't know what they do with Kuminga right now, because he wanted
He's been on the trade block.
He didn't sign his extension. He wanted, because they didn't give him what he wanted. And now, if he went on the market right now, I don't think he's getting what he wants. So
send him to Sacramento.
No.
Bro.
Kuminga in Sacramento?
That would be nice.
Tripping. Kings need shooting and defense. Kuminga doesn't do either of those.
That's true.
What? Kuminga's got great defense.
Not great. Solid.
He's a good defender.
Not anywhere near what the Kings need right now.
No, we don't need Kuminga.
Yeah.
I think y'all are sleeping on the defense.
They're looking for a star. The Warriors are looking for a star, and I don't see who that star is besides Jimmy Butler, which
Zion.
that's actually out there. Yeah, Zion is actually out there. It would be
the Pelicans
interesting.
are trying to trade everybody on their team.
Also, the Pelicans have everyone on the trade block except Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and Yves Messi. So obviously they're staying with the young core. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brandon Ingram, with DeJounte Murray, who they just got.
You could send BI to Golden State. I feel like he's a star.
That would be solid, but I don't think they want to give up Wiggins.
He's like your KD.
Yeah, they would have to give up Wiggins and
that's a good idea actually.
Stephen BI almost like Stephen KD.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of other guys on the market. Portland trying to get rid of all their guys.
DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta is on the.
He's playing so good though.
Playing
it's going to be hard for them. But
he's
also,
on the blocks though.
Smart GMs sell high. That's what I was going to say about the Nets. If they want to get good value out of Cam Thomas, you have to sell high.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a good time to trade these guys, because they're playing so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, another week on Beam City Sports. Ending came up pretty fast. It's been 25 weeks in a row on Beam City Sports. Tyler Texeira, Luke Mitchell, Alec Dennett. We will be back next week with a show off the radio. We are going to be doing a podcast that is not on the radio. So let's see how that goes next week. Tune in.
Thank you very much, Sacramento. Appreciate you listening. Beam City Sports.
Like, comment on our videos, subscribe, follow us on the Instagram, check out our TikTok. Just show us some love.
Everything.
Show us some love.
Cheers.